Welcome to the Digital Marketing Podcast brought to you by targetinternet.com. My name is Kieran Rogers.
I'm Louise Crossley.
And I'm Daniel Rolls.
And today we are discussing Is SEO Dead? The 2025 edition.
I was trying to track back how long I've been doing Is SEO Dead podcasts and presentations. And it goes back at least a decade or maybe even longer than that, I think.
It's a good gig.
It's a good gig. It's the gig that keeps on paying, right? Now, people may be quite cynical of this, but the reason being is I've just started teaching my MSc program at Imperial College again. So hello to my MSc students or my digital marketing students. And there's 330 of them.
Give them a big whoop.
A big whoop. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
High energy levels today.
Yeah, beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And what they keep coming up and asking, we keep talking about SEO, but then we keep talking about generative AI and generative search. And they go, surely, I'm looking at careers, SEO would be a bad direction to go in because it's going to disappear and it's going to change. Now, before we get into that, I would like to make Kieran sick in his mouth a little bit.
Definitely.
So I'm gonna tell you there is a new 3-letter acronym, Kieran.
Yeah.
It is SEO. Now that might confuse you a bit, and this is going to go in circles, this podcast a bit. It's search everywhere optimization.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Okay, so this was on a Neil Patel blog. I think he did coin the phrase, but search everywhere optimization, which is very valid, but you're not happy about this, are you?
No, it's not big and it's not clever. Honestly, I'm over it. It's like Web 4.0.
Well, this is what I wanted to get to. This is the full circle.
I mean, it is different, but actually the concept is still the same. So big news, everybody. Search engines apparently aren't where you get all of your traffic from anymore. Like, don't quite believe that yet. Hasn't quite happened as I've seen it yet.
Well, interestingly, if something like 80% of all web traffic is still coming from search engines, but the reality is we're not spending 80% of our time in the search engines. So this is a really important point. So it is completely valid. But what I would say is that we are spending our time in other places. We spend our time in social media. We spend our time on websites and apps. But search is still coming from search engines. That is shifting. The second biggest search engine is Instagram now, where it was YouTube for a long time. So we are searching in social media. And I think this is the point. We did an episode previously where we said search engine optimization, generative engine optimization, the top of ChatGPT, answer engine optimization, which was really initially about voice assistants and all those kind of things as well. Search generative experience, which is the results within Google. And I think the reality is we are searching in more and more places, which is fine. Does that mean SEO is dead? No. I was asked the question by a student as well, which I thought was really interesting, and saying, well, with SGE, with the AI results in Google itself, search generative experience, they make all their money from paid search. And if everyone's getting their answers from those AI answers, are they going to stop making any money? And does that mean that they've got a problem? They have to change things. And I think it's very valid to say if we were getting our answers from those AI answers in Google, we would stop clicking on the ads. But you can be absolutely sure, bearing in mind that Google makes 80+% of its profit from paid search ads still, if they find it's working really effectively, they're not just going to stop there. They'll go, okay, well, we'll just stop selling ads then if this is working really effectively. So I think you've got to see how Google evolve with this and what they do differently. So search engine optimization itself will change within Google, which will start to have elements of generative engine optimization baked into it because you're getting both of those things from the same place.
Do you know what? I've had a flashback to one of the first people we interviewed on the podcast. Do you remember Heather Lutz?
Yes, I do, actually.
Findability expert.
Yeah.
And she argued, actually, it was all about findability.
Right.
And this was
That's where I'm going
back
with
in
this.
2012. So, sorry, Neil, but Heather, God bless her, you got there first, didn't you? Heather, and she still listens, I think. If you're listening, Heather, big shout out, big whoop, whoop.
Another whoop, multi-whoop today. So my key thing with this is like, okay, search engine optimization has evolved and has changed significantly over the years. It's got more and more advanced because Google became more and more complex over a period of time. So we kind of evolved. And every time it got really complex, we said, well, is it dead? Because now they're so good at understanding user signals, we don't even need to think about it anymore. I think the shift is, do we don't need to think about it anywhere. So we need to think about it everywhere. It's my point.
The thing is, I quite like this kind of way of looking at it, because actually if it's all about findability, then of course it doesn't matter what platforms come along. And actually it always has been. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm not so sold that people aren't finding answers on search engines in large enough numbers to make SEO be a dead thing.
Right.
I think a far bigger problem, kind of the elephant in the room, is AI like scraped results. I mean, you don't need to visit websites that are giving all the answers in the first place.
Like search engine experience is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it is. But that, the search engines using AI to just give you the answers, so you don't have to visit someone's website to read their blog, is a much bigger kind of slice of the pie. What I would argue, though, is that traffic never converted anyway, because people just came, they viewed your blog or your web page, they got the answer, and they disappeared off again.
It's just shifting your focus, isn't it? Because like you say with SGE, you want to focus your content so that you're going to be the website that's featured in those snippets, and it's going to be your website that Google pulls that data from, and then people will go find out more.
It's about thinking about your customers, thinking about your audience, thinking about,
not back to this pesky old thing again.
But it's not really changed, is it? That's the thing. We give it all sorts of fancy names like GEO and SGO and blah blah blah, but it's just about being found. And it's traditional marketing's always done this. We've done it for hundreds of years. Like, work out what your audience have got their eyeballs on, and make it really easy for you to pop out of them.
Well. On that exact note, I have come up with a new 3-letter acronym. You'll be pleased to hear, Kieran.
Deep joy. Come on, hit me with it. Lay it on me.
Well, it's this new model. So we've got, searches in search engines.
Yeah.
We've got generative engine AI searches.
Yeah.
We've got social optimization, where we're optimizing our social media content. We've got media optimization, where we're optimizing our video content and our podcast content to make it discoverable. And we've also got voice assistant discoverability, which, to be honest, will just be AI stuff, because it's just going to be the AIs with a voice on top of it, like ChatGPT already is. So what we're really talking about is talking about the user journey and optimizing throughout the user journey. So on that note, what we're going to start calling it is search journey optimization, SJO. But this search journey is basically across a whole number of different engines, like a search engine and a generative engine and maybe a social engine. So really, we could call it search engine optimization. There you go. SEO's dead. Long live SEO. So search journey optimization is now, simpler to remember as SEO. But remember, you heard it here first. SEO has become SJO, which is in fact SEO. So I'm being kind of slightly facetious. I think the problem is, right, what we're kind of proving in this very short but to the point podcast is that SEO has always evolved. It will always evolve. Now, we can get really specific and say, well, it's not a search engine. It's a social media platform, or it's a generative AI tool. Yeah, okay. But really what we're doing is focusing on discoverability throughout the user journey. Call it what you will. There will be agencies spinning off that specialize in these different things and so on. But it just comes down to who's your target audience? What's their journey? Are you making yourself discoverable at each of those different stages? I am going to do a diagram and a guide to SJO, and I'm going to see if I can make this take off. I'm going to get T-shirts.
There'll be agencies out there fighting for the glory of the UK's #1 SJO agency.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I want to try and do this, and I want someone to start an agency that talks about SJO, and then just refer back to this podcast and say it's nonsense. It doesn't exist. We started a whole industry by accident by trying to spoof people.
SJO.
So there you go.
So it's catchy.
Yeah,
it's catchy. It's catchier than SEO, the new SEO.
I quite like that as well. SEO is the new SEO.
Yeah.
But yeah, so SEO is dead. Long live SEO. That's a real quick one from us at the Digital Marketing Podcast. We have got some live updates and deep dive masterclasses on this in a more serious note coming up as well. But don't be misled by all these new acronyms. Just go back to basics. And thank you for listening to the Digital Marketing Podcast. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. For more episodes, resources, to leave a review or to get in contact, go to targetinternet.com/podcast.